found out that this midnight basketball isn't getting them together, a bunch of jive folks living in their city to do, try to see if they can be Michael Jordan. Found out that this midnight basketball isn't getting them together, a bunch of jive folks living in their city to do, instead of out try to see if they can be Michael Jordan. My mother, marauding me. When they found robbing the local stores, they're in a gymnasium off streets. My daughter will be safer, my wife will be safer, my mother will be safer, and I will be safer. They're in, and I will be happy. My daughter will be safer, this midnight basketball will be safer. Together, a bunch of jive folks living in their city to do, try to see if they can be Michael Jordan. My found out. When they found out, together, a bunch of jive folks living in their city to do, try to see if they can be Michael Jordan. My found out. When they found out, together, a bunch of jive folks living in their city to do, try to see if they can be Michael Jordan. My found out. When they found out, together, a bunch of jive folks living in their city.
This under $200 3D printer has some surprising features while missing some that have been showing up in other low-cost machines. So we'll take a look at it and see how it prints right after this. I'm Brian, and you are watching BV3D. Hello 3D printing friends, and welcome back. Today we've got the Creality Ender 3 V3 SE, and I'd like to thank my friends at PurGear for sending this over free of charge so we could all get a look at it. We'll talk about the specs and features and take a look at some prints, then I'll let you know what I like about it, what I don't, and where it could use some improvement. So let's get right into the printer's specs and features. The printer has an injection molded plastic main body and aluminum extrusions for the X and Z axes. There's metal reinforcement inside the plastic body between the gantry mounting points. The Z extrusions have a crazy profile to them, but the X extrusion is a standard 20 by 20 millimeter one. Both the X and Z axes ride on V-slot wheels, while the Y axis rides along a pair of steel rods using linear bearings. The Y motor is embedded in the main body at the front. The X motor is in a new location behind the tool head, which makes it more compact, and the Z motor is in the usual place behind one of the Z extrusions. There are two Z-axis lead screws to support both sides of the X-axis, and they're connected by a toothed belt to keep them in sync. So the printer gets the benefit of dual lead screws without the added cost of dual Z motors. Its build volume is the 220 by 220 by 250 millimeter build volume we typically expect from an Ender 3. The tool head has a direct drive extruder which takes 1.75 millimeter filament and passes it through a 0.4 millimeter brass nozzle that can get up to 260 degrees Celsius. There's also a CR Touch probe for mesh bed leveling. The bed has a PC build surface on a magnetic spring steel sheet, and it can reach 100 degrees Celsius. It also has a strain gauge in the front left corner, so the printer can automatically set its Z offset. The easiest explanation of Z offset: that's how far above the bed the nozzle is when the bed probe senses the bed. The printer is able to determine this value automatically by positioning the nozzle over that strain gauge and then slowly lowering it until the nozzle itself touches the bed, triggering the strain gauge. There are no leveling knobs on this printer's bed. A quick run through in the leveling menu will probe the bed and set the Z offset for you. After that, you can fine-tune the Z offset during the start of a print. There are also no knobs for tensioning the X and Y axis belts, but the mechanism is there. Instead of turning a knob, use one of the included hex keys to turn the tensioning screw. It's got a 32-bit mainboard with silent stepper drivers, and like most printers equipped this way, the loudest thing on this machine is the fans. It's got a 3.2-inch color screen with a control knob, and the screen is really nice. Unlike previous Ender 3 color screens with a knob, this one is readable at nearly any angle, and the colors don't fade or shift or wash out. It has a full-size SD card slot and a USB-C port. And Creality has been slowly adding features to the firmware. The printer has built-in PID auto-tuning for both the nozzle and the bed to help keep them locked in at the correct temperatures. Plus, it will let you edit the bed mesh values if you need to fine-tune them a little bit. And it comes with a quick start guide, tools, screws, SD card, USB card reader, etc. The SD card includes a PDF version of the manual, as well as an easy-to-follow assembly video to get you up and running quickly. Well, now let's take a look at some things I printed. This is the pre-sliced model that comes on the SD card with the printer. It took about an hour and 25 minutes to print, and it came out really good. I don't see any issues with it at all. I printed this 400% scale Calicat when I was testing some settings, and apparently I had something set in a way the printer didn't like. There are a couple of places where it under-extruded, like here on the layer along the tops of the whiskers. There are also some regularly spaced issues here along the 45-degree angle of the tail and the left front corner of the cat's neck. There's some slight wispy stringing, but nothing obnoxious. Overall, I would say this one came out mostly okay. I printed a couple of MacGyver's Calidragon models. These took about 40 minutes each and came out pretty much perfect. Great surface finish and just a slight amount of wispy stringing. Even the overhangs on the backs of the antlers and under the chin came out great. I don't think I could ask for a better Calidragon. I printed this 3D Benchy in 53 minutes and it came out okay. It's not perfect, there's some banding on the lower hull, and a few extrusion issues here and there. So even though it's not a perfect print, it's also not horrible. I printed Luby 3D's Aria the Dragon too. She came out pretty good. Some slight stringing like on a few other models, but nothing major, and her wings came out great. I printed a couple of articulated axolotls because my kid likes these. Each one took about an hour and 20 minutes. All the little articulated segments work like they should, and I'm happy with how they turned out. After this video, I'll give these to my kiddo because she likes giving these to her friends. Last, I've got the rocket plane model. This one prints as a vase mode print, also known as spiralized outer contour. I scaled this up so it's as tall as the printer can print. It came out absolutely gorgeous, and I love the shine from this Polymaker Silk PLA. So pretty. Hey, if you're enjoying this video, clicking that subscribe button would really mean a lot to me. That lets me know that I'm making content you enjoy and you want to see more of. of it. Thanks. So now that we've looked at a few prints, what are the good and bad points on the printer? Well, let's start with the good. I like that it has a direct drive extruder. Most printers in this price range don't have bed probes, but this one does, and I'm pretty impressed that it also has a strain gauge in the front corner of the bed, so the printer can automatically set its Z offset. And the automatic mesh bed leveling and automatic Z offset have worked well. I did adjust the Z offset value to add a little more squish to the first layer, but the mesh leveling data for the bed has resulted in consistently good first layers. And because there aren't bed adjustment knobs to mess with and change the angle of the bed, the printer doesn't have to reprobe the bed before every print. I like the easy assembly process, and it has a really good screen. The dual Z-axis lead screws, synchronized by a belt to the single Z motor, works well. The removable magnetic flex plate makes it easy to remove prints, and so far, I'm pretty proud of myself because I've managed to not destroy this build surface, though it does sometimes hold on to filament a little too well. I also like that it has alignment notches to help you easily get the sheet lined up with the bed. That's the good. Now here's the bad. Features we are starting to see on low-end printers, such as a filament runout sensor, they're absent from this design, so it can't let you know when you need to run out and get more. For people who like to print modifications to enhance their printers, the plastic base and non-standard aluminum extrusion design significantly reduces the number of mounting points for such things. The printer's SD card only had the Windows version of the Creality print slicing software, and the Mac version of the Creality print that I downloaded is kind of a mess. It crashes at random times and the view controls are skittish, and the entire user interface blinks out and comes back when I'm rotating the model on the screen. What about improvements? Well, apart from the lack of a filament runout sensor, the only other thing not on this printer that I would have liked to see is a tool drawer, like on other recent Ender models. There's room for one on the right side of the printer's base. It's just open air inside this area. But of course, that would have increased the complexity of the injection molds and taken additional design time, and therefore increased the cost of the printer. And you know, printing a tool tray to put next to the printer is an easy and useful first project if you're looking for something to print. So, final thoughts? Well, I feel like for the under $200 price, the Ender 3 V3 SE is a steal, and you get a lot for your money. Not every print is perfect, but it does do a pretty good job of printing. It's got a good build volume and a few unexpected features like the bed probe and the strain gauge that you don't normally.
Hey, what's happening, guys? Look at this. Another new printer from Creality. This is the Creality Ender 3 V3 KE. So what they've done here is they've taken their most popular product line, the Ender 3, and they've basically taken the shell of the Ender 3 V3 SE, and they put clipper in it. They put a high flow hot end on it, a linear X rail, and they're trying to get a piece of the bed slinging high speed clipper 3D printers, something along the lines of like the Eladigo Neptune 4 Pro. So I haven't even turned this thing on yet, just got it out of the box and got it put together. Let's get everything set up and we'll come and take a good look at this. And by the way, this printer was provided to us from Creality through Pergear, and there will be a link down below if you're interested. Alright, so here is everything unpacked from the box that you need to assemble the printer. In the background here you can see the gantry with the nice new K2 head. Here we have the main body of the printer along with a mount for the filament screw, the filament sensor, the screen and control panel, filament spool mount, And then over here we simply have some screws. So not too much in the assembly of this. And one thing also I noticed is this is using the same, whoops, wrong way, the same type of extrusion as the Ender 3 V3 SE uses. This is this wide in the front, kind of narrow in the back kind of extrusion here. Nice, very long umbilical cable here, and it's labeled, you can see, has little labels on that one. It says X. There we go. It has some instructions here. So there does not appear to be too much to do to put this together, and that's what I'm going to do now. Everything seems to be going together pretty well so far. I mean, this is going to be a really quick install. Basically, you're bolting the gantry on and putting the spool holder on. I mean, really, it's not much more than that. But I did want to cover this one part here. This is the filament detection sensor line that's coming down from up there. It's really an extension cord, basically. But you do need to pass it through this hole. You see it comes down. It comes down through the center of this extrusion. You need to make sure you pass it through the hole there, so that when you put this together, you're not pinching that off and you won't have any filament break sensing. Okay, so it is all assembled. Took me about 15 minutes. Just most of that was just kind of going over some of the decisions they made in the construction of this. So from what I can see so far, this is your basic Ender 3 V3 SE body frame and gantry, but they put a high flow hot end on it, but they are not using a volcano nozzle. It looks like a volcano nozzle. If you don't know what I'm talking about, a volcano nozzle, instead of having one central hole for the filament to go down into, it has like 3 separate places. So more filament is exposed to more of the hot brass. This just has the one hole. So you have a longer neck to get hot to apply the heat to the filament, but there's not more surface area. Is that good? Is it bad? I don't know. We'll find out. So again, this is using this new type of extrusion here. You can see it's much wider on the front than it is on the sides. But that being said, we're only getting one Z-axis motor. We are, however, getting a synchro belt on top to link the two. This plastic thing here feels like it's going to fail to me at some point, as does this and this. They feel incredibly flimsy. This belt I need to put into here. Other than that, let's flip this thing up so I can show you the underside. Come here. There we go. So the underside is a stamped piece of sheet metal with no rubber feet. Why aren't there any rubber feet on this? I mean, what we've got here is basically going to be a super fast Ender 3, because this is running Clipper. It's got built-in accelerometer in the head, you know, all that kind of stuff built for speed, but why aren't there any feet? Again, you can see the way the gantry is mounted. Nothing wrong with that. Very strong. And then we have, you see, we have this cable coming out the bottom here. That is basically, the thing's going to be sitting on it. I don't know. I'm not a mechanical engineer, so I can't say why they chose these choices, but they're definitely interesting. So the V3KE, like the V3 SE, uses a load cell there under the bed, along with a CR Touch or BL Touch sensor on the tool head for completely hands-off setup. And that's what we're going to see now for the first time. So let's power it up. Let's see what she has to say. All right. English will be good. Privacy policy. Okay. Now I need to put in my Wi-Fi info. All right, we're connected to the network. Time zone, we are Eastern. We are international. Welcome to the self-test process. Please place the printing platform. Okay, I guess it's going to go through its little thing now. We'll let it rock and roll. Alright, we're getting down to the end of this, so I thought I would just pick up the last part here. I'm using G-Tech filament. This is silk gold. We'll see what it looks like in the light. We do have a nice screen here. It took me a couple minutes to find the settings I was looking for, but they're under that menu there, and adjust where you can adjust fan, Z-axis, compensation, speed, and flow rate. I'm not going to go into much more about the operating system on this today. We'll save that for when I have a review in a week or so. But for right now, the printer seems to be working okay. It is nowhere near as fast as for that one, for example, but I haven't spent a lot of time with it either. There are no LED lights on this thing at all, even though the web interface has things for lights. Also, there is no camera or accelerometer installed, though both of them show up in the web interface. I'm sure that's something that Creality wants to sell you as a, additional purchase. So we are at 93% here on our benchy. 47 minutes was the estimated time. We're going to come in probably right around there. All right, so here's our benchy, and it did take the 47 minutes they said it would take. So let's start by looking at the bottom, which looks magnificent. The back, again, I can never read what it's supposed to say in there. I've only had one printer out of about 30 that did good there. You can see our, whoops, you can see a little thing where the seam has all been put right there. Portholes look good. A little bit of banding there. There's some minimal stringing inside there. Other than that, it looks phenomenal. Which, if you're going to send something out as the example for the first print and it doesn't look phenomenal, well, that would be a problem. So anyway, I've only had this printer since yesterday. We played around with it a little bit.
Hi guys, Adam Savage in my cave with my printing farm, my two bamboo carbon X1s, and my brand new Cobra 2 Max is going gangbusters. It's like 4 or 5 times as fast as the Cobra Max. It's stunning. Anyway, I have been covering and doing prints from the bamboo carbon printers, which I love. They behave just like kitchen appliances in the best way of like taking a lot of stuff you don't need to know about or do and taking care of that. They've had a recent update that allows you to choose what parts of your print you might want to remove if you're getting spaghetti from something. Holy hell, I haven't even tried that one yet. But today I am doing, this is the automatic system for delivering up to 4